I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
And we're Eastside Vibes. So today we're going to do something a little different. Normally I like to pick artists that are like more, I don't want to say more popular, but at least like
more mainstream.
Yeah, mainstream is a good word for it. But today I picked someone that I personally have come to really like, and I think this is the type of artist that right now they're not getting a ton of hype.
I agree.
But I could see them being very influential on like future artists.
Mm-hmm.
Like I compared them to Yeet actually has this effect too.
Okay.
But like Playboy Carti or Lil Uzi Vert, even like Lil Yachty, when they first came out, people didn't, a lot of like more, I don't know, I guess like more casual music fans didn't really like those artists. They thought what they were doing was very weird.
Okay.
And this artist has a very similar feeling to that.
Okay.
But I could see like in a couple years, like this artist and this album being like something that people come back to.
Correct.
And that artist is Teezo Touchdown.
Whoop whoop.
You know, normally I would ask you like how you feel about an artist or like what you know about them, but I would guess that you don't really know about Teezo.
I knew nothing about Teezo until I heard him in the song Amen from Drake's album All the Dogs.
Well,
otherwise, no idea who he was.
Wasn't he in a Travis song too?
Yes, he was in a Travis song. I just can't remember what it was, but it's off of Travis's new album.
Yeah.
Was it Modern Jam? I think it might have been
Modern Jam. Yeah. And and he has a really good performance. That's like one of my favorite songs on that album.
Yes.
So the first place I heard of Teezo was actually, so he featured on a Tyler the Creator song a couple of years ago that I liked. I think it was on his newest album, Call Me If You're Lost.
Yes.
And then he featured on a couple other, I think he was on, I'm trying to think. He was on a couple other like songs that I had heard.
Okay.
And then and just like random features.
Okay.
And then he went on, so one of my favorite like hip hop producers, his name is Kenny Beats. He has a show on YouTube called The Cave where he basically takes like an artist, a lot of times like a kind of a newer artist, and they like make a song together.
Oh.
Like
wow.
You should actually check it out. It's really cool.
Wow.
Y'all should check it out if you've not watched The Cave. Please watch it.
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, they'll like kind of like go in a studio together and he'll play a bunch of samples and they'll like in 30 minutes, like they give themselves like a timer, like make a song. And they'll record it and some of the songs are really good.
Okay.
That's just because Kenny Beats is such a great producer.
Okay.
But that show is the first place I saw Teezo.
Okay.
Like, I saw him. I had heard him a couple times.
And did he look then the way he looks now?
Yeah, so Teezo's known for having this very eccentric look. He has, like, nails woven into his braids. Literally, like, nails woven into his braids. Actual nails.
Yep.
And a lot of times he has nails all over his clothes, too. And he kind of dresses like a mixture between like an 80s rock star and like almost like a 50s like I don't know, like the Outsiders type of like a greaser Italian.
Right. They said that's actually how he first really started getting noticed was because of the nails and the way he dressed.
Yeah. No, I think like even before, so his music, he had like a music video that went viral a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And then I think Balenciaga like picked him up as like a model because they're like, this guy has like a really interesting look, and like he makes it look cool.
He does make it look cool. He really does.
Like he looks good in the weird way that he's dressing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's obviously why he like has had like a big impact on the fashion world.
Okay.
Like if you're into fashion, you've probably heard of him, even if you haven't like listened to his music.
So he's probably at the runways during Fashion Week?
Yeah, he does. Like he does walk and he does all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
But he recently came out with his debut album. I actually think this is like his debut project. Like he hasn't even put out any EPs or anything before this.
Oh, really?
Just like singles and stuff.
Okay.
So the fact that he's like getting, because I mean, this album is doing decently well, like as far as like streams and stuff go.
Good.
So the fact that he's getting this much like hype and popularity, but he didn't never had a project out at all is pretty impressive. The new album, which came out, I would say, about a month ago.
Correct.
It's called How Do You Sleep at Night? And honestly, I don't even know if like there's a way to describe this. It's very different than anything anyone else is doing right now.
I said that he is versatile because he can rap, he can sing, he does all of this in fast songs, he does it in slow songs. He's got a great combination of what he can do.
Every song is like different, and not in the way where like I'd say like the album still flows together pretty well.
Yes.
Even though every song is different.
Right.
Like there's
no theme to it.
I would say there's like 15 or 20 different like influences in music on this, literally, which is crazy.
Right.
Like normally, like for the most part, an artist you can kind of like feel like what they're inspired by. This guy sounds inspired by anything that he sees and hears.
He does a lot of sampling, and you can hear it throughout the whole album.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of samples on the record. They're like recognizable ones, where you're like, I know I've heard this before, but it'll be like all different like artists.
Correct.
You know, like 80s artists to like new artists. You're like, how is he, like, where is he? He's very eclectic. It's almost like if I were to, like, make music, like, you literally listen to everything.
Right.
That's how this guy is.
I think being a DJ really helped him to expand his.
Because wasn't he, like a club DJ?
Yes.
Yeah, so he obviously has a very wide range of tastes, and he must have done that when he DJ'd, and he does that in his music, too. But, we'll get into some of our favorite songs on this record. The first one is one that my mom picked. It's actually the first song on the album.
It's called Okay, and I hear it playing in my head right now. I thought that it had kind of a rock and a punk song to it.
Yeah, I would say it reminds me of like Sum 41, like not exactly Green Day, but like similar to that. Like Sum 41 was a little more like skate punk, I guess.
Right.
And it's more like closer to Sum 41 or like The Offspring.
Oh, that's a good example.
Than it is to like Green Day.
That's a good example.
You know, like 90s alternative rock, but more in the harder rock side beside of like the pop rock.
Right. It was like a harder rock side too, and he did it really well. The guitar solo, the guitar throughout the whole thing, I was impressed by that.
Yeah, the riff is really good.
Really, really good. And the other thing I liked is that his voice varies through it. Like he'll rap, but then he'll sing.
This is probably one of his best vocal, or at least most like varied and versatile vocal performances on the record. Mm-hmm. There are some points on this record where he's like trying to like switch things up and push like weird sounds, and it doesn't work like as well.
No.
But on this one, I think it does. Like the fact that he is like fluctuating and
it's a good song to start the album with.
Yeah, it has a ton of energy.
Yes.
And it like really draws you into the album. You're like, I don't know, like if you were to like put this on and someone's like, hey, like showed you this guy, and they're like, hey, like check this out. Mm-hmm. Like this is not what you would expect at all.
No, not at all.
You would probably expect either like metal or like maybe like a Lil Uzi Vert type of sound.
Well, he's got metal. You can give him that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like you would when you see this guy, you would expect like metal.
Right.
But like no, you wouldn't expect like 90s like California skate punk music.
Right. You also would not expect him to have a good singing voice. I mean,
he does have a good voice.
Right, and that's what I think really got me when I heard him in Amen from Drake's album, is that he could sing, but his rapping is really good too.
That actually, you keep mentioning the rapping. That's another reason why I compared him to Sum 41, because they do some rap stuff.
Okay.
So does The Offspring, actually. So, but like Green Day doesn't. So.
Right.
But anyway, you mentioned his vocals and how you really like them in Amen. The next song, You Thought, which is one of my favorites, it features Janelle Monáe, who had an album that came out this year that's really good.
Yes.
But Anyway, I think that song, in my opinion, probably has his best vocal performance
Right.
on the record.
What is that song?
Yeah. Oh, it's called "You Thought," like I said, with Janelle Monáe. And yeah, the beginning of it's like a 2-part song.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
The first part, because like I would say that like what's interesting if you like compare it to like the Drake album, for instance, like where like the transitions were random. Like this transition on this song is clean.
Yes.
Like even though the first half and the second half have very different like styles,
Very different.
the transition in the middle is like pretty seamless. The first half of the song has a reggae rock sound.
Very much.
I would say a little bit like Sublime or maybe like Skindred or something like that. Like it's a unique sound. It's kind of like harder. Like if it has like the guitar has a reggae tone, but it's like chunkier than like reggae.
I like when I heard the beginning part. I felt like when we were in St. Lucia and you kind of have the music playing by the ocean or whatever, and you're just moving.
Yeah, but it's like a little harder than that though.
Right.
It's like I don't know. Like I said, chunkier. Like it literally sounds like the guitars are like chugging. And then the second half of the song has almost like a modern trap sound.
Yes.
A modern R&B trap, like similar to like someone like Black or I don't know if you know Black or like SZA, like that sound. And his vocals on this part of the song are really like if you listen to the first song and then listen to this, you're like this doesn't even sound like the same person. Like his vocals are very clean and like crisp on this, and that one they're more, I guess like harsh or gruff.
Yes.
On OK they sound a little more like gruff. On this one they sound like more like clear. And I think Janelle Monáe's contribution is really nice because her voice contrasts his in like a cool way.
Right. Exactly.
It's like soft, and I like that a lot. So yeah, I think You Thought is a really cool track.
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
The next one is another one of my mom's songs.
It's or
yeah.
or
I don't know.
one of the two.
Yeah.
So when I first listened to it, I automatically connected with the beginning of the song, and I'm like, I know where this is coming from. And it's from Milli Vanilli's "Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You," even though Milli Vanilli really weren't the singers. But it's a funny story. But again, it's both rock and it's punk, and I think he brings his singing into it quite a bit. And the guitar and the drums again were, especially the drums, I really love them.
What's funny is I didn't pick up, because I've heard that song, that Milli Vanilli song. I didn't pick that up at first because the drums have like almost like a distorted tone that reminds me of like I kept saying like Whitesnake or Bon Jovi. And then when you played that Milli Vanilli song, I'm like, it does have the same tempo as that. But like the tempo sounds like that, and the tone is more like 80s rock. I thought that you would like this song because it does remind me of like Bon Jovi or these like hair metal rock bands. Like the song is very huge. It's very epic.
Big, yes.
And I think another song where he has a very good vocal performance, and I think his vocals work really well for the sound. I wouldn't mind if he did a whole album like this, even though I'm not like, I know like you love it, I'm not like as much into like hair metal rock music as other kinds of rock music. But I think his voice sounds really good for this.
Yes, I do.
So like I think it would be cool to hear him do a lot of music like this.
I agree.
But overall it's just like a really interesting and cool song. Like you wouldn't expect to hear a song like this in 2023.
No, not at all.
Because it does literally sound like it came out of the 80s.
Yes, it does. Yes,
and not in the way that like The Weeknd or like Dua Lipa sounds like they came out of the 80s, because those still sound modern. This doesn't even sound modern.
No.
If you just like played this for like my dad or something, like he might just be like, oh, maybe that's just some 80s rock song that I've never heard.
Right.
You know, like I never heard that one, but okay, like it fits into that sound.
Right.
And especially coming after You Thought, it's like how do you go from that to this?
Right.
And like have it not like sound weird, you know? Like it still sounds all right.
Yes.
Like you know, like with them going back to back, I don't mind it.
No,
it's just,
not at all.
It's weird. It's a little interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. The next song that we picked is another one of my favorites. It's called Sweet, and it features Fouché or Fouché.
Yeah.
Fouché. Fouché is an artist that like I feel like I should definitely get more into.
Okay.
Because I'm super into like this style of, I mean, you know, that style of R&B music.
Yes,
like,
he is. He loves R&B.
Like, and especially like instrumental R&B, like in 90s are like neo soul, like Lauryn Hill or like Erykah Badu, like Corinne Bailey Rae, Jill Scott.
Wow, yes.
That's what this reminds me of.
Okay.
It has like almost like a jazzy tone, a little bit of like a Norah Jones.
Yes. Yeah.
And once again, like the way that Fouché's vocals, and to me, this song feels more like a Fouché song than a Teezo song.
Okay. I don't know much about Fouché.
Neither do I.
Okay.
That's why I say I need to look into her more, because
Okay.
I obviously like her.
Right. Yeah, it's not, you're right. Now that you say it, it's not flowing with the same like vibe or theme that he's doing. It's kind of a completely different thing. So it probably is. It could be her song.
Yeah, it could have actually been her song, and then he bought it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But I think that he sounds really good on this too.
Same here.
Like I said on You Thought, I really like his R&B vocals. Amen. He like those R&B vocals.
Oh, beautiful.
And this is the same thing. It's like I almost, even though he's good at like the style of vocals he does on like the booming voice.
Yes.
I actually like this better. Is for like, maybe it's just because I'm into this style of music more, but I think he sounds really nice on this. And the way that she like they go back and forth, I think it sounds it's really pretty.
It is very pretty.
It like if you're into like, if you have watched any of our videos, it would like be comparable to like the music that V made on his EP.
Yeah.
It's like a similar sound to that. And like V, like his voice sounds very nice on this type of music.
Very nice, very nice.
And so does Fouché's, which is why, I just think Sweet is it's a sweet song. It's a really nice song. The next one is another one of my mom's favorites. I will say this song is one of the ones that like did not hit with me as much, and I'll explain why. But
it's Mood Swings.
Yeah, Mood Swings.
And it completely reminded me of this part of it is funny. So when we were talking about songs, I'm obviously morphing into him a little bit because we were talking about songs, and I'm like, it kind of sounds like, and he goes, Sly and the Family Stone. I go, that's exactly what I said was Sly and the Family Stone. You were saying earlier that his lyrics are clear. They're crisp.
Yeah.
Lyrics are very clear in this. You know exactly what he's saying throughout the whole song. And I think that's why that's why I like this album a lot, is because I could understand what he was saying in every song. And I just like the kind of like the story behind the song. I'm not sure, but in essence, and I think a little bit about mental health.
Yeah. It's definitely like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I appreciated that part of it. So that's why that song really caught with me.
I really like the instrumental on this song, and I think like one reason I don't like it as much is because what's weird is like if he used the same style of vocals that he did on like You Thought or Sweet.
Oh, okay.
I think to me this song would be a lot better because his vocals are just like a little quirky and weird on this.
They are.
In my opinion.
They are.
Like he's making weird noises, and I don't know. It just doesn't hit with me as much because of that. It's like I think the instrumental is good and the lyrics are good, but it's just the vocal performance is a little weird. But it is like a cool song, and it's fits very well into what's popular now, and it shows another side to his music, obviously.
Correct.
But yeah, the next song is Daddy Llama Drama. that song, it's like it. I don't know. I feel like it probably doesn't fit into like the album as much. It's like way different.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this sound a lot, and it's kind of like nostalgic for me.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a acoustic emo sound that from like the early 2000s. I
Very
compared
much.
it to like if you know like Bullet for My Valentine or like A Day to Remember, like these, or maybe like Hello Goodbye, like these like softer emo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess A Day to Remember and Bullet for My Valentine aren't known for softer music, but they have softer songs. And yeah, the guitar tone
Yes.
feels like emo, but like there's no drums. It's kind of like a softer song.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a very emotional song. Like he's
Very emotional.
talking about like how he like doesn't really get along with his parents anymore, and like he has to move away from home and like pursue his dream, basically.
Yes.
Like that's what, and he's like trying to explain to them like this is why he's doing what he's doing. Do you remember that song? I think it's called Second Chance by Shinedown.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of that. It's like a similar lyrical tone and like sound to that song.
Okay.
Where like that song's also about like trying to explain to someone like why you're leaving.
Right.
You know, and that's what this is about. It's like you're trying to explain to someone you love like why you can't like stay in that situation anymore.
Correct.
In this case, it's his parents instead of like a significant other or something.
Right.
But yeah, it's very different from the rest of the record. I mean, every song is different, but I think this one's like the most different.
Right. Like Post Malone, every song was different, but this one, his vocals are just all over the place in a good way. So it's very different.
Yeah, it's just it's a song that even though it doesn't fit like as well into like the theme of the rest of the record, it shows yet another side to him that I don't think like you would even expect from this guy.
No.
Like you wouldn't look at him and think he's gonna do like some sort of acoustic emo music.
This would almost have been a good song to end with. I
agree.
After you have the whole album, then you put this here, so you get this essence of, oh, so this is why he did what he did, and
I think when I wrote about it, I said one of like the things that drags this album down to me is the sequencing. Like if like you could have picked all of these same songs, but like just kind of organized them a little differently.
right. I just wonder how what the producers are thinking. I mean, we know the singers obviously have a say in it, but the last album we did too, there was just the sequencing in a couple albums. It's just off. Good songs, but it's off.
The Drake one, yeah the
the Drake
sequencing
one
was terrible.
awful,
in my opinion.
So you might have to wonder, would the album would you have liked it better if the sequencing was better?
Yeah. I think that actually happens with a lot of albums where like for some reason like the organization of the songs will drag them down. And when you do it well, it makes the whole album sound so much better.
Oh, so much better.
There's albums where like there's a lot of songs in there where I didn't like as much, but because the album flows together well, I like the album as a whole better.
Correct.
So actually the album we're doing next week, it might be like that, where there's a few more songs where that don't hit with me as much, but like the sequencing in the album is so good.
Like the Gorillaz, their sequence.
That's a really good example.
Their sequencing was
it's
unbelievable.
perfect. Like it tells a story.
Yes.
Even like the music tells a story.
Yes, it completely
and
does.
for this, like this one, I'm trying to think of what it comes at. I think it comes after Too Easy.
Yes.
And it's like that song is very, very energetic and upbeat, and then this is like completely the other direction.
It
like
is.
calming, and it's like do the calming one at the end, you know?
Well, I think the second to last song was actually one of my favorites too, Stranger.
Yeah.
And that one was another, I love that. That's my favorite song off the album.
I also think that they could have put that like third or fourth. Like,
okay.
Maybe even second after Okay.
Right.
Because like at the end, like I think I almost missed it because it is at the end. Because they could have put it at the very end, because it is an epic song.
It's a very epic song.
But like they put it like before the last track and not at the beginning, like closer to the rock stuff. So like it just, I don't know, like, I think I almost forgot about it.
Right. Unless you really just keep listening to the album over and over, which is what I do to help prepare for this.
Yeah.
That it hit with me when I heard it, because you just kept.
As far as the sound goes, it's very cool.
Oh, very good. There's the sample in the beginning immediately made me think of More Than a Feeling by Boston.
I think it literally has to be a sample of that song.
It has to be. And
Yeah.
he's known for sampling, was what they said when he was a DJ. And at Boston, Kansas, those are big those are big bands for me that I really like. So when I heard that really pulled me in. And it's a much, again, like Daddy Mama Drama, it's a much slower, calmer song. And
I think his vocals on it are really good too.
Oh, they're very good. This was, like I said, this was my favorite song.
Yeah, no, like, I think his performance is good. Because I listened to it again, I'm like, yeah, this is probably one of the best songs on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like, it could have been in a better place on the album.
Correct.
In my opinion, I actually feel that way about Daddy Mama Drama too. It's a really good song. It's just, you just kind of forget about it.
Right.
If it's not one that hit with you, because, like, it's kind of like in a weird place in the record. I
could have seen, like, maybe Daddy Mama Drama being second to last and this being the last, or reverse the two. But I could see if these two would have been at the end, I think the album might be hitting out there a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think that this album is one that, like, it's probably, like, it's doing pretty well now. I think, like, in a couple of years, when, like, other artists come up who are, like, listening to this, this will, like, end up, like, hitting more, because people will be like, they have to figure out, like, where they even got that type of inspiration.
Right, and then you see who he is, and you're like, ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But overall, I think How Do You Sleep at Night's, like, a super, especially for a debut record and a debut project, it's very good. It doesn't always hit. I mean, it doesn't, like, not every song hits. It's not sequenced super well.
Sequencing is big. It's really big.
I think that some of his vocal performances don't work as well with that song, which is kind of weird, because there are, like, other songs where, like, if you use those vocals on that song, it would sound better. So I know he's trying to, like, go all over the place, and, like,
especially being his first one, you said he wants to maybe see what people appreciate more and then make an album with just that sound.
And I honestly am okay with this not being perfect for a first album. Like,
I didn't even know this was his first album.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive that you can even make something this good without even making a project before.
Yes. Wow.
But
what would you rank it? Sorry.
I think I gave it, like, I don't know, between a 7 and a 7.5.
Okay.
Like, and I think that's really good for our first record. I don't think that this is perfect by any means. And the one we're doing next week, I keep mentioning it, it's Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty, is an album that I think is, like, has a similar feeling to this as far as, like, being all very eclectic.
Okay.
But it just, like, it seems more put together, in my opinion.
Okay.
It also tells a story, and this one
there's no
sort of does.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's a lyrical theme for sure. It's mostly about, like, how his relationship with his parents, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it doesn't, like, it's not, like, actually telling that story. It's more of, like, his emotions about that.
Yes, that's a good way of saying it.
But what would you say about this record?
I personally loved the record. I really did. Until I had heard him on with Drake, I didn't know who he was. So, like you said, I did not know this was his debut album. I thought he had other ones. So I was like, wow, this is quite something. And then when he's like, it's his debut album, I was like, whoa, this is really good. I kept listening to this album over and over. I mean, I like it that much that I was listening over and over and over. And if I had to rank it, you're going to laugh, I'd probably give it an 8.5. It's one of my favorite albums we've listened to.
I mean, that's cool. I think it's cool that, like, someone that's this out there is someone that, like, resonates with you. And also, that gives me more belief that he's going to end up being really big.
You're true. That's true.
Because if someone who's, like, way older than, like, not way, but older than me, you know, is into this music, like that means it can hit with everyone.
Correct.
You know, like this isn't just for like kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't show you like Ice Spice. I don't think you would like that very much. That's more for like younger people.
I've listened to her, but yeah.
But like this, it's like anyone could listen to this. I feel that way about The Weeknd too, where it's like anyone can be into. He has music for everyone. They won't like all of his songs,
right?
And like maybe like that's the same with this, where it's like you're not gonna like all of his songs, but there's something for everyone.
Correct.
Like I said, there's songs on here that I could probably like show my dad, and my dad hasn't listened to a new song since like 1985. So the fact that I could show this to him, like shows that there's something really cool about this.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how we feel about Teezo Touchdown and his album How Do You Sleep at Night.
Please listen to it.
Yeah, if you haven't heard this, like check it out. Because it's really cool. It's just so out of the ordinary for like what you would expect today.
And expect
in a good way.
And expect from somebody who looks like him too.
Yeah, also look him up and like watch his interviews because he's a very interesting guy, and you're like, it's even cooler that he's making this kind of music. Because you would probably see him and think he's gonna make a certain kind of music.
Oh, I thought he would.
And not this. But, yeah, with that being said, I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
We're Eastside Vibes. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Have a nice day.